At the AI Readiness Project, we believe that in this remarkable age, AI isn't the main character. You are. While the tech is racing ahead, it's the humans who learn to harness AI mindfully that will win. Each week, we meet remarkable people doing just that. Join Kyle Shannon, tech leader and AI instigator, and 𝗫𝗏𝗏, fundraiser and AI consultant, as they lead the conversation about staying grounded, growing smarter, and leading with what makes us human.
All right, we got to lead with what makes us human.
Our theme song and our narrator have synced up now.
Yes.
It sounds good. Do you like it?
I like it. It's chill.
It's chill.
Yeah.
Chill
and speaking
vibes.
of chill, I will share something with you. I'll just jump right in if you don't.
Let's do it.
You don't mind, unless you like aching to share something.
No, I'm all ears.
All right. So this past week we launched the AI Salon Mastermind, the practice lab, right? We kicked off this thing where people are going to be designing their daily practices, right? And I'm really glad we did, because like what I realized is I've essentially been overstressed, hiding, like not being in my power, just like having a lot of activity without necessarily having any focus or intention. And I got really clear on the difference between a habit, like I show up every night for my AI Learning Lab Live, and a practice where you're actually doing it with some intention and doing it with some thought. And I realized that there's a lot of me just not doing things because I don't want that feeling of like I don't know how to do something, or I don't know a particular tool. And like I'll even tell you, like there's a silly one, is like I've got to vibe code up a website. And listen, I used to run one of the biggest website agencies in the world, right? So how I like get it from the vibe coding app to my web platform and then get the domain pointed to it, like I know there's only a handful of steps and it's figure outable, but like it's unpleasant enough that I just keep avoiding it. And so like I don't even make the thing because I don't want to confront that thing. So for me there's something about launching this practice, and Andy and Liz Miller-Gershfeld were both talking about a big part of their practice is sitting in the uncomfortableness, sitting in not knowing, not trying to fix it, like just feeling it. And the minute they said it, I was like, I don't want to feel it. I don't
want to.
But there was something about in just saying, okay, I'm just going to sit with it and feel it. Even though I didn't do that specific thing, I took a bunch of actions this weekend with a level of calmness and lack of anxiety that I haven't felt in a while. And so it's just a big reinforcement for me that even if we let go of the sort of chaos of trying to keep up with the tools, if you're just in a chaotic place, then you're in a chaotic place. And so I'm really excited about this idea of taking a moment to breathe, just be.
You know, this week I said a number of times, I don't want to feel this way. And it's like, I'm doing the thing. I don't want to feel this way. It's for sure. I don't want to feel this way.
Right.
And also, when I do the thing, I feel this way. And so there's this element of like, when it's a practice, you're not relying on motivation. You're not relying on I feel like it. You're not relying on I feel good, or the whim, the moment has struck me. It's discipline. It's the thing of like the most prolific writers, like having a practice. You have to sit down and do the thing and let the source like flow through you. And if you're not sitting there, it's not going to happen.
Right.
That's kind of my version of what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Practice.
And for me, like I'm calling it embrace the ick. which
Yeah.
is rather than avoiding the ick, embrace the ick.
Yeah.
We're gonna have Chris Vallone up. I'm super excited to have Chris up. He's going to talk about filmmaking. He's been a filmmaker for 20 years, and one of the things I'm excited to hear from him is that transition from here's how I used to make films to here's these tools, and what's that transition feel like, and does it feel like I'm going to get replaced, or does it feel exciting, or how do you go from being masterful at something to a whole new suite of tools that fundamentally alters the workflow?
Yep.
And where you can't by definition feel masterful, because no one's masterful right now because the tools keep changing, right?
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
I had an observation that I think is important for our communities. Are you ready for this one?
Lay it on me.
This is about the big Tony Robbins AI extravaganza. So they had probably a couple 100,000 people, come in and out, probably 1 million people come in and out over 3 days, at least 1 million. And, they're Tony Robbins fans, right?
Mhm.
And they're people who know that AI is important. And certainly, I watched it and I was like, well, I mean, this is exactly what I would expect, right? It's sales, and there's nothing wrong with that. People know what they're getting into. They're there to be sold. People like to be sold. That's not a bad thing. A salesy 3-day infomercial is not a bad thing. I don't think it's a bad thing. And furthermore, we're all adults, and we know that if something's free, it's probably you're going to get what you pay for.
Right.
But in the meanwhile, they engaged people who we know and love, right? Allie Miller, Rachel Wood, Sabrina Romanoff. And so we got inside scoop on that experience. And we now are seeing members of our own communities who went to the 3 days.
And it was not cheap.
And the program that they're selling. So this is what I'm kind of like unraveling here is that I now have been meeting people who not only attended, but bought the program, the $995 program, because they found Sabrina, because Sabrina Romanoff was one of the instructors. So they looked her up. They found her Women Builders community, which I run a jam for them on Fridays. So now these women showed up in my jam session on Friday, and I saw what had happened in the sales process for them was they bought the promise of AI, which we all have too in one way or another, right? Like we didn't buy Tony Robbins, but we gave up all of our time, money, blood, sweat, and tears over the past 3 years to learn all this shit. So they spent $995. They show up into a jam session with women who are building things, and we discover that they barely know how to use AI.
Right.
Like almost not at all. Like maybe using it for an email. Now, what we provide through our communities is, let's say somebody signed up for something with us because they are excited about the promise of AI. We bring all those other elements along with it that make it possible to learn something, to sit in the discomfort, to be in a space where you suck at something for how many hours on end or years on end. And so now we have, there's like this, I think there's going to be this like cultural backlash. I do think that it's going to have I know it's only it's Tony Robbins. Tony Robbins is a cultural influence, right? I do think it's going to influence our communities too, that there was this big thing where they sold something that is something that we all do, like breathing. It's digital. They're making digital twins. That's the whole offer. Is 7 sessions to make a digital twin. $995. We do this at LOLs. We do this for free.
I was going to say, I'm here. Here's my big insight. We're undercharging.
No, I was thinking, if people feel like that's not the methodology for them and they don't want to spend $995 to make a digital twin, they can come hang out with us.
Yeah. Well, again, and this goes back to this thing where in the early days, having curiosity was enough. But even just saying, oh, I want to be in AI, I want to learn AI. The fact that they chose a digital twin as the thing to do, it's like, there are so many other things to do. It's like,
Yep.
that's going to be relevant to some small subset of the population. And again, this goes back to, what are you trying to achieve as a human being, right?
Right.
Are you trying to start a business? Are you trying to stay employed and make money without having to invest money? Do you want to, make a difference in your community? Do you want to change the world? Like what are you up to? Feels to me like that has to be first, because here's where I increasingly answer the question of, I hear the question all the time, and I know you do too, what's the best AI tool?
Yeah.
And I used to try to answer it, and I go, well, if you do this and if you do this, and then try to answer it. And my answer now is, it literally doesn't matter, because all of the AI tools are good enough to some degree. We'll even talk to Chris about video tools and things like that.
Yeah.
They're getting better, like, where he was a year ago versus where he is today. It's completely different technology. Every single technology out there is some version of good. So the tools don't matter, and they're going to keep getting better, right? So if there's tools that do everything, well, where do you start?
Yeah.
Well, you don't just pick a technology or an implementation and start there. No, you start with, who are you? What are your values? What are you trying to do in the world? And then from there, you can say, well, what are the kind of AI tools that I might need to implement to do that, right? What's the first step? The answer might be a digital twin, but the answer might just be, go to Midjourney and make pretty pictures, right?
Honestly, the answer is probably write a prompt,
Yeah, exactly. Learn that words matter, and you can
words matter. You got to use them. Sometimes you're going to save some of them over on the side. So that part was really interesting to me, was just seeing like, okay, so there's like this very sellable promise that kind of meets people's interests across the board.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're going to take that stuff and they're going to be able to do something a little bit better or different with their skill set. But at the end of the day, they're still on their own. They're still, they don't have people around them to talk with them about different use cases and talk about why something doesn't work and talk about the feeling of being frustrated. On Friday in the meetup with all these women who are building things, it came to light, like everyone had just a really, really hard week with building, where, something like one woman was saying, she'd worked on something for ages.
Mm-hmm.
Ages and ages. Well, it's the process that you've described about vibe coding, like, oh, I'm going to make an app. It's going to be so great. And it's great. And then it's actually, in reality, a piece of shit, right?
Oh, you wanted that to work? That would be another.
Oh, you wanted it to work? Oh, silly Kyle. But anyway, a lot of people kind of hit that wall of, wait a second, I've created this, I've built around this, and now it's kind of like the rug's being pulled out, from under them. But being able to come together, 40 women talking about how difficult it is at the end of the day to launch something that you vibe coded, was, I think, really good medicine.
I think it's really good medicine. I think it's also, for me, it's a good reminder to take advantage of the community, right? So a lot of times I will sit in silence, like, I don't know how to do this thing. And like, I literally have thousands of people I can reach out to that would probably answer a question for me, right? Like, but I sit there like, well, I got to figure it out. Maybe I'll ask ChatGPT. Woe is me,
Yeah.
And, and I know the community's there, and I know that there's trust and love and support there. And so people who are not in that, like, this is very intimidating. It's funny, when we first started doing this AI stuff, it was simple enough that I found it not intimidating. Like, you could literally just, you go to ChatGPT, you put in words, out would come your thing. You'd either get code or you'd get words or whatever it was. ChatGPT now is so complicated. It's an ecosystem of different applications. It's like 28 or 30 different applications. And like really small things can make a huge difference. Like, I don't know if you knew this, but you can go into the settings in ChatGPT now and choose a personality. You can have it be cynical or helpful or whatever. Like, that will radically alter your experience. But how would you know that, right? How do you even know where to begin in a single tool?
In a single tool.
In a single tool, and there are 10,000 tools, right? So
Exactly.
it is, right? But and maybe that's part of the challenge right now is you would never think to say, oh, I've got to learn the internet, right? I've got to learn the World Wide Web. Like, what does that mean? Well, it's everywhere, right? So it's like, no, what specific part do you need? Well, I want to start an e-commerce site. Oh, okay, so you need to build a website and you need to hook up an e-commerce thing to it, right? That, like, we know how to do that, right? But that's evolved over 30 years. And so now AI is sort of used as this thing you can go learn, but it is so much bigger than that, which again, like, where you begin is not with the technology. Where you begin is with you.
Well, and the thing about this, the thing about making a practice out of it, I think is perfectly timed, because I'm not 100% ready to say that this is the truth, the end all be all reality, but I'm starting to think that training does not work. Because so we do this whole, AI educational, I've got my AI Academy that I do in my consulting things. It's 5 workshops, but really it's 5 workshops and 5 office hours now, because each phase of the 5 workshops surfaces some specialized need within the organization for like one-on-one or one-on-2 or one-on-3 training that really is me sitting down with them and saying, okay, here's how you're going to grow this. It's almost then I'm giving them a training program, which is really more like a practice when it comes down to it. Right. I can't anymore do 5 sessions and then peace out and think it's going to work. Because even if it was just ChatGPT, we would never in 5 sessions get around to something as intricate as, turning the knobs and the dials on the personality thing. Like, I haven't even gotten around to that. It's a practice. It's not a terminal thing. There's no beginning, middle, and end.
No. And I think that's the fallacy. And that's, I think to your point about the Tony Robbins thing, like, it was pitched as, you buy this thing and you will have learned it.
You will have learned it.
Right. And so people showing up to a thing, well, I bought the thing, so I will have learned it. Well, no, there's no it to learn, right? Like, it's all good. There's no it, there's no there, right? There's no it to learn. So in the AI salon, we've got play first, create excellence, and generously lead, right? The cycle of AI readiness, right? Which is, we're living inside that in this thing. As we've been putting together the practice, what we realized, we were writing some marketing copy, and I think it was Andy Scarantino that came up with. She phrased it as, there's different modes that you're in, and she labeled the modes. And so I'm going to add a 4th one. So there's 4 modes that you can be in with AI, and the first one is reflection mode.
Okay,
and that's where you're not dealing with AI at all. You're reflecting on you. Like, where are you right now? Like you come in here. Are you stressed out? Are you peaceful? Are you calm? Like just reflect. So imagine if on a daily basis, you took 10 minutes to just reflect on where you were before you got started, right? So reflection mode is first. Second mode is curiosity mode. And so that's play first, right? But it's curiosity mode. So when you're in curiosity mode, that's a very different mode than building or doing leadership or taking a class. You're in curiosity mode. It's playful. It's right. You're out there. The third mode is build mode, and build mode is create excellence. So it's like, now I'm going to take the things I've learned and I'm going to apply them to something, right? And then the 4th mode is service mode, which is generously lead. And so that might look like, that cool thing that you just vibe coded, share it with someone, or what did you learn in building that, or, whatever it might be, or asking other people questions, reconnecting with community. And so if you can really think about like where are you just mentally, right? And then what mode are you in? Am I in build mode? Am I in curiosity mode? Am I in I need to connect with other people mode in some way? And if we can get it to a place where it's simple, right?
Yep.
And then someone says, well, I need to learn something. Well, have you done anything at all with AI? No. Okay, then get yourself in curiosity mode and go play for a week and come
Yep.
back to the other side and tell me what you've learned, right?
Yep.
You know, because
Yeah.
that's that when you're just getting started, you might need to live in that mode for a while, because it can get really frustrating if you're like, okay, I'm going to teach myself AI and I'm going to go build something really cool. Well, you don't even know what's possible. So it's going to be incredibly frustrating to build something, not even knowing what the tool is that you're trying to build with.
Yeah. Yeah. And it feels like it's a gap that I should be able to solve for people, for clients, for community members. Like, I should be able to say, oh, no, here's the thing that you're missing. But the thing that they're missing is like a vast world of, you don't know what you don't know. Like, it's like you have to get a little tiny foothold. And I think that is what showing up is for. You know, that's showing up and sitting your butt in the seat.
Yeah, I like that. I also, there's potentially a place where you could actually solve the problem. Let me throw this out as a thought experiment.
Yeah.
Which is, you define a radically narrow, specific problem. So the problem might be like, I'm going to come in for an hour. We're going to solve the problem of, our emails that we write with AI sound too much like a robot, or they don't sound like us. Okay, we're going to take that specific problem. I'm going to come in for an hour, and we're just going to try to solve that. So there might be there might be a place of, rather than I'm going to try to learn AI, it's I'm going to learn a specific problem. The challenge with that, now that I'm saying it out loud, is that how I will define my problem is based on what I know. So in that case, then I would only be using AI to solve the things that I know how to do, which doesn't help me learn new things that are possible, right? Because I think part of AI is learning that new things are possible. So I just talked myself out of that solution, but there might be something there.
There could be one along the lines of, so first of all, did you know that there are people in the world who will have like a whole conversation with ChatGPT or whatever, and then they will take that chat and they will like have ChatGPT like sum it all up and like put it in whatever formats and all this kind of stuff, and then they will take some artifact from that and they will archive it, where they will go and find it again.
Those people are what we call psychopaths.
but I think they're like, I think these people are like, they're among us. Like, they're not like angels. Like they live and they walk the face of the earth. Well, what if let's just say somebody could have you're almost done, but you're not quite done. A little something that you append to the end of your journey, which is something along the lines of, now that we've done this project, now that I know these things, what else can I do?
Oh, that's good. That's really good. That's really good. And there's also what you hit on, and why I call people psychopaths is because I'm so horrible at doing that, right? I'm horrible at the organization stuff. In fact, this weekend I have to work on a thing for the book project I'm working on, and I had to go find assets that I created. It took me 2 hours to find the assets. Some of them were just still in a Gemini chat. Like, I hadn't even exported them. Like,
right, me neither.
Some of them were in Photoshop, but not all of them. Some of them were on my work desktop computer. Some of them were on my work laptop computer. It took me hours to just get back to starting. So maybe there's something about this, about kind of what mode are you in? You know, are we in discovery mode or are we in problem solving mode? Right.
Yeah.
And then even if we're in problem solving mode and you get to a place, it's like, we're not just done once we get the answer. It's like, okay, what are we going to do with that? Kelly Camp had this, she's been using Notion to capture all of her ideas.
That's what I'm supposed to be doing.
I know, me too. You and I are we are unfortunately too much alike on that respect. But what Kelly said it did for her when she had a repository to put stuff is it made her choose, is this thing important enough to save?
Yes, that's
And
the
she
thing.
said, and she said about 25% of what she creates is worth saving.
Yep.
But again, rather than thinking, oh, I've got to save everything, I'm going to digital hoard everything, and I'm going to go find it at some point, which you won't, right? Or at least I won't.
Yeah.
Again, that becomes this sort of mindful practice of, okay, I created a bunch of stuff this week or today or this hour. What do I do with that? Well, this was just a learning exercise. We don't need to save that. Okay, great. Then you don't need to do anything.
Right.
Or, hey, we actually got some really good insights here that are important for our strategy. So let's get them, into the notes doc for the strategy, and let's get them into the drive, and right.
The other thing that it does, and this is where I think this will be a big leap for me, is it would force you to deem something done, or at least done for now, which when I first started trying to understand this concept of, because I had just assumed, you just have to remember somehow where the ultimate version of your conversation was, because now, to your point, not only is it in 15 different places, it's possible that I had the same exact chat in 4 different AI systems. So where is the end? So maybe if I started forcing myself to put the things somewhere, I would actually complete more things, or maybe give myself a tiny satisfaction of I completed, or I hit a milestone.
You would have some completeness, right? And maybe instead of forcing yourself to, be in a daily practice where you do a little bit each day. Don't force yourself. That sounds awful. That sounds awful.
Does.
Listen, I want to get Chris up here. I want to talk about it. So let me just talk quickly about the AI Salon. So the AI Salon, go to the salon.ai, really remarkable community. We just started a thing called the AI Salon Mastermind Practice Lab. And if you're a member of the mastermind, you can actually, we had our kickoff meeting recently. So you can go to this URL, sign up for the mastermind. You can watch previous weeks. And if you join, it's a 10-week cycle that just keeps repeating. You can join at any time. And it's people designing a daily practice around AI. I'm super excited about it. It made a difference for me this weekend. I actually spent the 2 hours and went and found all my crap. And that is a direct result of that. So with that, why don't you tell the good folks about She Leads, and then we will bring Chris up.
I think that when I'm talking about She Leads AI for the next several weeks, I'm just going to talk about Social Saturday, because we have been having the most remarkable conversations, and we have some bangers coming up. So She Leads AI, our mission is to unite accomplished women to advance AI for global prosperity. And what we mean by that is that it is, of course, about our own personal and professional growth and gain and influence in the world. But more than that, even, it's about the choices that we make in the spaces where we show up, where we're able to represent the people who aren't in the room. And we're seeing more and more of that surface in the work that we do. And I can't wait to share some of those breakthroughs with you guys. But Social Saturday is a free it's a free event every single Saturday from 10 a.m. to noon Pacific time. And we've been focusing in on some really cool topics recently. Yesterday, we had Suzanne Weiveld-Jones, who actually wrote a book about AI agents and corporate culture. And what we spent it's a 2-hour event, but we spent an hour on learning about her research and the work that she does as a consultant, and then really just had an open mic talking about different applications of it. But what we were talking about with her was how AI agents actually may be our greatest allies in the workplace, because they are going to uncover the sacred cows, the orthodoxy, the way we've always done things. And she's anticipating a rash of scandals to come out, because think about it. We all know, the dots aren't that hard to connect, but in corporate culture, there's systems set up to make the dots hard to connect.
Yeah,
right?
Well, a lot of businesses are based on that complexity.
They're based on that, right? There's a reason why, like, the board doesn't have transparency to certain things, and that no matter what happens, the board is never going to see XYZ. Well, you put an agent on the scene to, let's just say, optimize workflow for fewer tickets in IT help. I don't know.
Right.
Well, they're going to come back and they're going to say, oh, wow, here's the following fucked up things we found.
Right.
And okay, now decision makers, do you want to pretend it doesn't exist? Right? Because the AI doesn't care if it gets fired, so it can speak truth to power. At any rate, that was the conversation we had yesterday, which allowed everyone in the room, and we had like 50 women there, to ask questions about, we ended up talking about God. Let me put it that way. We started with AI agents and work culture, and we ended up talking about that flowed into just sort of kind of existential stuff about how we show up. That went into spirituality, and then by the end we were talking about God. So join us for Social Saturday.
Awesome, that's great. Well, let's bring up Chris Vallone from Vallone Works. Chris, thank you very much for being here. Thank you for your patience getting this thing up and running. And
all good.
Why don't you do us a favor? Introduce yourself. Tell us what you're up to. I'm so excited to hear about your journey and all that stuff. But catch us up on who you are.
So Chris Vallone from New York. Moved to Florida a couple of years ago, which has been great. And back in New York, I went to school for fine art. Got a bachelor's of fine art, and grew up on Looney Tunes cartoons, and grew up on the great classic movies like. Like Terminator and Predator and Usual Suspects, Shawshank Redemption, Braveheart, Gladiator, Apocalypto, movies that I grew up with, sitting with my pop, and watching a movie and saying, hey, damn, man, that was a damn good movie, And ever since I was a kid, I always wanted to tell stories. So I've been probably telling stories for 30 years or more. And when I got out of college, I jumped in on filmmaking, and I got involved with in the DV revolution in the early 2000s when, mini DV tape came into play, and you were able to get a camera for pretty inexpensively for the time, broadcast quality, and shoot on tape. And it was a somewhat of an acceptable format if you were to screen at, say, a festival or something. Even though back then, a lot of filmmakers who shot on film were negating it because they say, oh, that's not real filmmaking, you're using a tape, that kind of thing. So technology always has
artifacts, right? It's not as high resolution.
You're right. That's exactly it. But so I pumped out probably, 8-10 films I did in a course of like 8 or 10 years or so. And then I got to the point in New York where I'm like, all right, I got into film festivals, got into Tribeca, went to California, got into some festivals, that kind of thing. It was a good time. But in the end, living in New York, I had to start making some money. So I started my own business, and I used my art talent to run my business for the last 20 years. But now, fast forward to now, and AI came into my life a little over 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. And I said, wow, I wrote so many stories back in the day that I could never film because I didn't have the budget. I didn't have the cast, or the connections. And I always had some grand ideas, way out of my budget league, to make anything. Because the stuff that I made on Mini DV was all shoestring budget. I mean, I didn't pay any of the actors. I had a stunt team. I didn't pay them, and they beat each other up, these guys. So
to get to the role, as a guy with an acting degree, I can vouch for that we'll do anything for free. You just
for free.
We'll do it.
All I did, I provided you free food that my mom cooked. So she's Sicilian, and so we got some good food. But we did have a good time. But fast forward to now, and I'm like, wow, I could resurrect a lot of my old stories that I wrote that I could never ever do. Let me just start dabbling in that, and it's been thrilling to say the least. I can say, to see my old characters and old designs and story ideas come to life today, that I can bring together on a 5-year-old laptop. Right. And put something epic together it's pretty exhilarating, you know, I got to say.
Yeah. Do you want to show? I've got a trailer teed up here for one of your works. Why don't you want to show that, and then just we'll sort of dig in from there.
Sure, absolutely.
Beautiful. All right, let me get this rolling. There we go.
This is horrible. This is so scary. Oh, damn.
You know, what strikes me about that is hang on, let me switch. There we go. What strikes me about that is a lot of those shots, if you were to shoot them with actors in films, and like the cost of just doing that trailer would be insane.
Yep. Yeah. Insane. That's exactly it. And that's my latest one that I've done. I mean, I've done several already the past year or so. Yeah, it's one of those things where I'm driven heavily by music, similar to what Looney Tunes was like and what Walt Disney did with Fantasia. He would listen to music, and then the music would, in essence, speak to him and what the story would be. So he got a lot of flack when he put out Fantasia, because there was Christmas music in Fantasia, but the themes and the stories of what he put together was not Christmas themed. Right, so people were like, "Oh, but you're using a Christmas song." It's like, no, that song talked to me as something else, you know. So I grabbed that, and I listen to music. I mean, I'm in the gym and I'm listening to cinematic stuff. I'm listening to Braveheart music, Gladiator music, and then, you know, YouTube throws out some other feeds, some real artists today, and I can listen to a song and come up with a story. And it's like a blessing and a curse at the same time, because then I can't go to sleep. All night long, I'm thinking of this story. This music's running through my head, and I'm basically plotting the whole story together. But so that's Echoes of Antietam. I mean, it's something that I was just going to bed one night, and just boom, it just popped right in my head. I'm like, I got to flesh this out. If I don't get this out of me, I can't get to sleep. So I started banging it out. So about 2 months, I think I put that together. And then the one before that was my big one, Kalara, the Summoned Blade. That was 15 minutes, that short. That took me 4 months to make. And I wrote that 18 years ago. Oh, wow. And I said, I got to bring her to life. And again, inspired by Apocalypto, Braveheart, Gladiator, Last of the Mohicans, even a little bit of Dances with Wolves. You know, I like that kind of stuff. And I just wanted to put that together. But, you know, with AI, as you're making a movie, and it's taken me that long to make, and you're seeing how the technology is moving so fast.
I was going to say, if you're making it over 4 months, the tech's probably different by the time you get to the.
Oh my! The first month, I'm like, what? Do I go back and remaster it? Do I change it? I mean, do I just keep streaming ahead? Plowing ahead, and that's what I did. I didn't stop. I just kept going. And she took off. She's doing really well on my channel. I mean, I have another YouTube channel for my business, and I don't get the views anywhere near what she got. She got over 402,000 views.
You put that in festivals and things like that, right? Is that that journey?
All of them. I've been submitting all of them to film festivals, and I always have this topic of a conversation with other filmmakers, AI filmmakers, in the film group that I've started here in Florida for a year now. You know, are festivals still relevant? I guess they still are. I mean, they were back in the day when I was making movies. I mean, that was your way to get your work out there. But with the internet today, AI, I mean, just get it out there. I mean, at least, I mean, 402,000 views. I could never get that many views at film festivals.
Yeah.
You know, so, but yeah, it's been submitting them. It's a mixed bag when I go to these festivals and what people think.
Yeah.
You know, when you got to go up and talk about your film after it just showed, you know, people are like, you know, half clapping, you know, some of them, but then some grab it and some totally get it. And I tell people, look,
is that because you're in a festival where there's some AI films, some not? Is this an anti-AI thing where you're getting the half claps?
Yeah, I think so. And some of the festivals I get into, I'm the only AI film. So there's still a lot of festivals out there that are still very traditional, which is great. I'm all for it. But you know, there's this pre-notion that they think you're going to ChatGPT, typing in a prompt, and boom, your whole movie's done.
I know.
And so I have to reiterate to the audience and say, hey, look, not for nothing, but I wrote this girl 18 years ago. She is my design. The characters are my design. This is my direction. This is my editing, my storytelling, my sound mixing, and a real composer made, you know, I used music from a real composer. So, you know, if you're a creative person and you have some great ideas, why wouldn't you use AI to bring your stuff to life? I mean, I could never do this 5 years ago, 10 years ago. So it's thrilling. But then there's AI festivals you get into, and of course you're mingling a little bit better, of course.
Can you talk a little bit about the experience of the creative process, including hours and hours and hours of prompting versus hours and hours and hours of other activities, other things you do with your brain, your fingers, and your body, and the, you know, the environment that you're in?
So since I went to school for art, you know, I did work with my hands for years. My business for 20 years is restoring vintage Volkswagen Beetles. Yeah. So that's my other time, and I work with my hands. You know, if that's what you're getting at, but I think I tell people all the time with this, you got to keep the human element in this. I think if you go all AI, all digital with it, I think there's an issue. You know, so let's keep the human element in this. And so my stories are written by me. I use ChatGPT as, I say, a writing partner, but not to take over the whole story. Bang ideas off. If I was sitting with a friend of mine and we're writing this script together, you know, that kind of thing. But I always have the idea to bang out first. But as long as you keep the human element in this still, I think it's going to be okay.
What feels different to you from when you were doing films with on DV, when you were doing the films in the early 2000s? Like, does it feel like the same process? Do you miss the camaraderie of the set? Like what's compare and contrast, like what the experience like? That's
one of the things I was wondering about, like versus hanging around with actors and the great people and
and I'm a people person myself, so, you know, so like even I love face-to-face communication. I grew up on that. I grew up in the 80s and the 90s where we used to jump on our bike and tell my parents, see you later, I'm going to go call for my friends. So I hate actually being on the screens all the time. And yes, I do miss being with my actors and my stunt team and giving them the direction. That, you know, the only thing you had back then was, you know, limit to budget and time, money. Of course, you know, it was a huge factor. You know, there was a lot of stunts I wanted to do, but we just feasibly could not do it. You know, in Kalara, you know, there's battle scenes. I got natives on horses, and there's you know, sword fighting, and, you know, I'm able to actually do, you know, impalements with swords and fighting and battle that I could never do back then. I mean, just you know, the makeup alone and the effects alone to do that. But I do miss the human side of it. It's really cool. But at the same time, we did have problems with actors and actresses, right? They didn't show up, right? Oh, I got a stomach ache today. I can't make it. Yeah. You know, or, you know what, I can't get a ride there. I'm sorry. You know, that because I used to shoot in Rockland County, New York, which is just north of New York City. So a lot of the actors that I had from Manhattan would take a train or a bus up to me, and then I'd have to pick them up. And, you know, back then the term wasn't even used, but there was ghosting back then.
Mm-hmm.
So there's the trials and tribulations there. I mean, I think when you're on a film set, one guy said it right. You are going to war in a way, because it is stressful. You got time to think about, especially when you're really on a budget and people are working full time. Yep. There was times we would go wee hours of the night, do a 13-hour to 15-hour shoot. Right. And, we're done at 6 o'clock in the morning, and then the people got to go to work the next day. So, there was issues with that. Yeah, no, for sure. And I was a rebel without a crew. I mean, I followed Robert Rodriguez's book, I didn't have a crew. And, if any of my guys were standing around doing nothing, I tell them, here, hold the boom pole or grab a light here and help me out. It was one of those things. So it is, with the streamlining with AI and be able to do a production. And I mean, 𝗧𝗏, as involved as it was, 4 months only to make it. It was about $4,000 of my money though to make it, but still a fraction of what it would actually cost to make that. That would have been $1 million, $2 million, $10 million to make what I put together in 4 months. So
amazing. Wow. My question just went out of my head.
I have a question.
Oh,
sure.
Go.
So it's related to the barrier that is budget, and how I'm wondering if up and coming filmmakers would be doing themselves a real disservice to not have AI, generative AI, in their repertoire, because even in competing for funding, they're going to, those without any of the AI components, generative AI components, are inherently going to be much more expensive projects.
Yeah.
So is that going to like make independent, is that going to change independent film? And I don't know. I mean, I could just imagine, I don't know a lot about the industry, but I can imagine that we're going to be able to see more sort of outsider art or indie art, because it's not going to be quite as expensive, and budget might not be the same barrier.
Well, that's it. And that's what's taking it by storm. And that's why, the whole notion online right now with Hollywood is that they're fearful. In a way, they're fearful for their jobs or stuff. And then you got some New York schmuck like me, some outsider guy that's saying, hey, I can make a story. Because, how many times I went to, we'd go to movies when, back in the day, and we would leave the movie theater saying, man, that movie really sucked. Like, who the hell did they get to write that? Yeah. But now you don't have to feel like that's really bottom of the barrel anymore to say, we need a contact to get in, or how are we going to make this thing? We can't do it. Now, I mean, you got the idea. I mean, you can literally fledge it out and make it. If you're creative enough. I mean, I would think it's going to take it by the world by storm. How Hollywood handles it in the end, it's a good question. It's given me the opportunity to then have a screenplay that I wrote many years ago, a full feature-length script. And if I can make the short or the trailer to it, now that's pitchable material. Ooh. So that helps too, an indie who would never have, even the way to make the trailer, or they can do it now, and more power to it, and so that's why I say some filmmakers who poo-poo the whole idea. I'm like, I remember listening to a Walt Disney animator when CGI was coming in, CGI, Pixar, that kind of 3D animation was coming in, and he did traditional cell animation. He worked on Beauty and the Beast, and he said he was irritated and irate that CG was coming in, because a lot of the artists that were making the CG at the time were just techies. They weren't artists. Yeah, they didn't have a fine art background like this guy had. But he said, if I don't jump on this train, I'm gonna lose my job. Yeah. And I tell that to my students. I said, I'm not saying you got to, engulf yourself. Just learn something. Just get something under your belt, because it's coming. And this is a massive tidal wave. I mean, bigger than what we saw with the internet and Amazon, all coming in the late 90s, early 2000s. I mean, this is pretty huge. So I tell filmmakers as well, I'm like, you got to get on it to some degree. Even if you use it part AI and part real live action. Yeah. The fact that you could do VFX now with it is great.
Yeah, it's crazy. I remember I was watching a TV show not that long ago, maybe a year ago, and it was this scene where they rush from the barracks out to like a dirt airfield, right? And there's 4 Russian helicopters and 5 or 6 trucks, and like the people all rush out of the barracks and climb into the different vehicles, and the helicopters take off and the trucks drive away. And I'm like, I was just looking at that, and it was 20 seconds of film. Like, it wasn't that long.
Yeah.
Right? But like, that was probably months in the planning, and like, tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars in insurance and renting vehicles, and right. And how many times they had to do it. And I'm like, oh, you could just prompt that now. Now you can't, because the coherency is not quite there, but for the most part, you can like you can do stuff that would be a major production.
No doubt.
For in that case, that was really just to establish, right? This was a big operation, and they had some stuff figured out, so I had to establish a point dramatically. But man, the cost of that was crazy, right? And just that goes away.
No doubt, yeah.
Talk to me about. I remember when I was first playing with ChatGPT, and they added the ability to create images. I uploaded one of my screenplays, and I said, tell me about my screenplay. This was something I'd written 30 years earlier. So like, I kind of knew what it was, but I didn't remember any of the plot. And like, it synopsized it and things like that, but it also started drawing storyboard scenes, right? And as it was drawing the scenes, it immediately brought the story back to me. I'm curious what your experience is of taking something that's 18 years old and being able to go, yeah, let's just go make this. Like, what's that like emotionally for you to be able to resurrect those old ideas?
It's invigorating. It really is. I mean, and of course my mindset's a little different back then. What I wrote back then, I'm like, I'm wiser today. I can make the story a little bit better. But what's great with chat is that, like I said, you use it as a partner. And if I dump in the script or the synopsis of the film, of the screenplay, I mean, and what it bangs back out to you, because I would say, I got a little writer's block here. I'm not sure where this character should go at this point. Give me 10 different scenarios. What do you think I should do? And so it would bang out the 10 different scenarios. And I'd be like, all right, I like number 2. I like number 4. Maybe we can combine those 2. What do you think? And I'm literally chatting with it like this.
Yeah.
And I'm typing it in, and it's amazing.
You would say that's a writing partner if you were working with a writing partner. What if
that's it.
Right?
Yep. That's exactly it. It's really great. I really... if you suffer from writer's block, this can help you. I mean, that stuff is gone now, because all it sometimes takes is from writer's block, just a little ignite, just a little match. And like, there we go. Now I know where he's got to go, the hero, that kind of thing. It's really great. It's like I said, it's thrilling. It's like, I know people, it's scary and thrilling at the same time. Everyone thinks Terminator, but I don't know. I'm on the train right now, and I'm having a good time with it.
So the Coke ads, the Coca-Cola ads are always such a cultural touchstone, and we can kind of like mark different, shifts in technology and shifts in storytelling, just based on what Coca-Cola is doing with their ads. And I guess it kind of depends on what corner of the internet the algorithm has you pegged in, but I've been kind of surprised by the response to the AI generated holiday ad for Coke, and wanted in that my corner of the internet seems to be very ready to pounce and say it's not good enough. And I wondered what your perception of the ad is, and what you think it means for like where we are in the public being ready to enjoy or appreciate this kind of storytelling.
If this is the worst you're seeing of it, it's only going to get better.
Right.
That's it. I mean, it's already damn good. I even saw a Jeep commercial recently that was generated in AI. And when I watched the commercial, it's a very good commercial. And it looked like any other commercial you see when you're watching a football game that they always go to, because so many of the commercials, they're all CG. All those cars are not real. And if you tell the people it's an AI commercial, they pounce on it. But if you never told them it was an AI commercial, they would never pick up on it. And some of the things, I see some of the comments below the Jeep commercial, and I'm like, this guy's just saying it because he hates the whole fact that AI is here. You know, like these are those people, you know, you're going to have those naysayers, and it's with any new technology. You know, like go back to the late 18. When were we doing photography? Well, like the late 1800s, where you took a snapshot and you called it art. Hey, stop! That's not art. What are you talking about? You just took a shot. Yeah. But now it's art. You know, or fast forward to now, Photoshop comes into play, and the fact that you can undo an error. No, that's not real. That's not real art. You can't. If you make a real mistake, you make a real. You know, that's the thing. And same with DV when all that came in. So any new technology, you always got to have these naysayers. But I always laugh because even on my Volkswagen channel, I have some AI videos there, and some of the people are pissed off. Oh, I hate AI. I hate that. You know, we're using AI. And I'm like, well, so if you hate AI, get off YouTube right now. Because YouTube's AI. You're on social media. Get rid of that too. You get rid of your phone, get rid of your TV. It's all AI. What do you think? Right. Where do you think we are? You know, so yeah, it's just I just go, you know, whatever. You just keep going, and it's only going to get better. And I can't believe from when I did my first film last October to now, and the amount of change and the quote unquote fidelity has gotten so much better. It's really remarkable.
Yeah, really remarkable. Well, let me. We ask this of every guest. Look, the time's flown by here. It's been great talking to you. But let me shift gears a bit. And you know, we talk about AI readiness here. What does AI readiness mean to you? And what would you say to someone who is maybe ready to, you know, jump in or wade into the shallow end even of AI?
Like what you said, jump in for a week and play around, make your mistakes, get your feet wet, and just go with it. And there's so much education and information on the YouTube. I mean, it'll blow your mind how much education is out there. And just keep watching. And I tell my students too, just take this slow. You don't be overwhelmed because there's I know that like you said, there's like 10,000 different apps. Just, you know, and everything is very good today. Everything is very comparable. Everyone's racing for the top. But if you want to use Midjourney, or you want to use Leonardo, or you want to use another app like Flux, or there's Nano Banana, there's 𝘧𝗔, they all do relatively the same quality. And just pick a handful of them, try them out, and go from there. It's like anything else. Make your mistakes, and just in the end, have fun.
Yeah. That's great. That's great. Well, Chris, this has been absolutely awesome. What's next for you? I want to put, if people want to get in touch with you, your YouTube channel is Vallone Works. Is that correct?
Yep, Vallone Works. I'm on X with Vallone Works and Instagram. And yeah, you can reach out to me there. I haven't made a website yet. I'm getting there, but I keep posting my videos up there on YouTube. And yeah, I got stuff coming down the pike still. I got so many story ideas that even myself, sometimes I got to slow down because I got a list. I got a sticky of a list of films I want to jump on. So, but yeah, just going to festival. I actually got 2 festivals. One festival coming up this week in Florida here. 2 of my films are playing there. And then I'm running out to Tampa in the beginning of December for the Tampa Underground Film Festival for 𝗧𝗏𝗏. So running around, then I'll fly up to New York. I got a couple festivals up there. So yeah, it's all good. You know, like I'm having a good time. And so, yeah.
Beautiful. And what's the thing you're most excited about coming up? Like technology wise, anything that's got your curiosity piqued?
To make a feature. You know, I mean, I made that short that was 15 minutes. It took me 4 months. I'm like, all right. So, okay, maybe it takes me a year to make a feature.
Elon Musk said the next, when they do Grok 5, he said, we're going to go from 15-second videos to 30-minute videos.
Yeah. Wow. It's crazy.
You make a leap like that where you can just knock out a 5-minute scene with a prompt. the shot from there to a feature is not maybe as far as it seems, but we'll see.
Yep, it's coming. It really is coming. Because they're already starting to do it. Hollywood's already dipping in on it. They've already licensed some features. I mean, I had one of the most exciting things that happened to me in October, where 𝗧𝗏𝗏 got to Robert Rodriguez.
Oh, nice.
The filmmaker. And yep, he's got a new production company called Brass Knuckle Films, and where he does somewhat kind of like a crowdsourcing thing on this website called Republic. And if you're you could be Joe Schmo like me, could be an investor to his new production. And then if the movie makes money and it gets produced, I mean, that you get kickback on that. So, which is really cool. But what was great is, as being an investor, I have first dibs to pitch to him.
Oh, wow.
So he grabbed, I think there was somewhat like 1,000 submissions, and it came down to the last like 23 that he picked. And I was one of the 23, and I sat down with him on a 20-minute Zoom call. And I'm a guy that I've idolized for 30 years and read his book and learned from, and pitched to him Kalara, because we both liked Frank Frazetta. So Frank Frazetta was also a big inspiration for me to make this film. And it was really cool. I mean, he didn't select it. He went with 2 other guys, but just to get to that point, and this is where we are in this tech. I mean, the fact that, like I said, I got the script and now the short to showcase, it's pitchable. And to be able to reach to somebody like him, I mean, I'm just so grateful I even got to that point, so yeah, it's really cool.
Well, thank you so much. Let's stay in touch. Absolutely inspiring.
Definitely.
Can't wait to see what you do next.
Yeah,
I appreciate it, guys.
All right.
It's been fun. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.